Hey everyone, well, welcome back. This is Shepard here with another Monster Hunter Rise build video. This time with a switch axe, and we are going to do the best we can to redeem power phial. I've said some harsh things, you guys have said some harsh things, and I think it's about time we revisit it and explain what's good about it, what's bad about it, is it viable and whatnot. So before we really get into it, I mean, we know power phial takes a long time to charge up. And coming in from World, power phial was the one we used the most. We knew it gave us a boost to our raw damage, so that was great. But more importantly was, whenever we attacked with our switch axe heated up, the phials did more damage. Elemental phial and I believe Dragon phial both only did 5% motion value on the phial bursts, which was really bad, especially when you considered power phial was 10%. That is different. In Rise now, all phials do 10% of your motion value. So just so you know, even though this is a power phial video, elemental phials are absolutely 100% viable now. And that is one of the main reasons for that. Now you might be asking yourself then, well, if that's the case, Shepard, why the hell would you use power phial? Like, it takes longer to charge up. You know, there's nothing really special about it. Well, that's not true. There is one special thing about power phial, and that is when you're in sword mode, you get 15% additional raw power. So that means all of your sword attacks, all of your phials, basically everything while you're in sword mode is now stronger by a considerable amount. I mean, 15% on top of stacking everything else is pretty great. Now, there is one caveat. Power phial cannot crit. At least the phials can't crit. So no phials can crit. Elemental phials can't crit. Exhaust phials can't crit. Power phial can't crit. So you might decide to run crit element. However, just know that if you run crit element, your elemental values will not be critting. You could run crit boost or, you know, max affinity all day long. Your phials aren't going to be critting. So even though I am using like a little bit of a hybrid set here, you know, it's got weakness exploit, it's got crit boost, you know, it's got some latent power on it. The concept of the set is not necessarily to go max raw. You could, and you may find that there may be a weapon or that there may be a build you could use that is going to have it so that power phial will be best built for your talismans of your build, just stacking as much raw as possible. So going for attack 7, things like that. That being said, you know, Magnum Aldo is a good all-around power phial. I'm not saying it's necessarily the absolute strongest in the game. There are options if you wanted to run power phial and something was weak to dragon. There's the dragon line, I believe. It's the Drac Fall has power phial, and that's pretty good. I believe it has built-in 5% affinity in a level 3 slot, so that's okay. The Zinogre switch axe also has power phial. It's got a good amount of thunder on there as well. I know it gets white sharpness pretty easily, so if something's weak to thunder, that's also a good option. So you've got choices. And again, this is not to say that I'm only ever going to run power phial ever again. Exhaust phial is still very good. You will oftentimes find yourself getting, you know, 1 to 2 to sometimes more KOs per fight. And so what you need to kind of think about is like, what are the pros and cons for each build? So for this power phial build, you know, big pro, tons of damage in sword mode. Big con, nothing special, and I run Power Prolonger 3 just so that my phials stick around for just a little bit longer. But you'll see here, the extended power phial that I was in, at the very moment I got into my second power phial being awakened, Mizu was already for capture. Like, we were done. Like, the quest was basically over. So by extending my power phial length from 45 seconds to 1 minute and 30, I was able to do that. By the way, power prolonger it appears to be linear gains. So it goes from 45 to 60 to 1 minute 15 to 1 minute and 30 for each one level of power prolonger going up. So you may find that you only need 1 point because your quests go a bit longer and you need the 2 full minutes of power prolonger up. I found that for me, by keeping the full 1 minute and 30, that damage opportunity window was good enough for what I needed. I only run 2 points of rapid morph, so you know, if you really like the transformation chop combination, you might want to try and switch something around to put in that third point. You might decide that you don't want to run any rapid morph at all. And actually in power phial, I would argue that's probably one of the more viable ways to run it. I am using a weakness exploit razor sharp talisman. So that's kind of what makes this build able to work the way that it is. You don't necessarily need 3 points of razor sharp, but it is nice. You don't necessarily need to run this much crit with crit boost, but I think that's probably the best way to run it. So yeah, look forward to tomorrow's video. We are going to be doing elemental phial tomorrow. A really cool secret there. You're going to really get excited when you find out how strong elemental phial is. But otherwise, that's it for now. I stream every day on Twitch, twitch.tv/SDShepherd. I love you. I'll see you soon. Goodbye. See you tomorrow.